Hi, David.
Hi, Sarah.
I have a question that comes up quite often. You talk
Mhm.
about receptors.
Oh, yeah.
What are receptors really?
Okay. So you could probably put it to our physical body, yeah, in that we have receptors, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But like your senses sense,
So those are like physical sensory
yeah.
receptors,
So
the way
so
we,
you
yeah,
so we'll talk about the physical ones, right? But we have they all start with our spirit body, yeah. And that's the ones that we focus on because they're the ones that go outside our body and or move out or all weird and wonderful places and all get discombobulated.
Oh,
So
but do they go out looking for information to receive
yeah,
information? So
yeah,
that's why they're called receptors, because they're actually they're searching for and receiving information.
yeah. I'll get to that in a minute.
Sorry.
Okay, so if you've been in our classes, you found that we all have loads of senses, and it's quite that aren't actually sitting inside. You know, then all we when we think of senses, we think all our senses are sitting here, everything's honky dory, and then we wonder why we're pinging a bit and wondering why everything doesn't seem to basically become real, yeah, because we're overreacting, not reacting. So what happens is we'll start with senses. So our senses can be sitting all around us and they disconnect. So through trauma, through stress, we end up having people being over forceful on us, or there's a lot of different reasons why. But basically, our senses can be sitting all the ways around, and that's quite a shock when everybody feels all these senses, and then all of a sudden the senses come back in. Now, our receptors are more about, so although they sense, your receptors are more like a processor. So they figure out if there's an opportunity there for something to work more coherently or properly. Okay. When I diagnose that for people and I show them, our senses sometimes they'll imagine a root where the bark has been stripped off or pulled back, so that the roots are very vulnerable because it has no protection, because they're being pulled out. And so the senses for a start are feeling very vulnerable. Okay. So when we bring them back in, it's a bit like automatically like the bark comes over the root, for want of a better description, but I'm just trying to be as easy as I can so people understand. And then those senses come back in. But it also means that they face inwards, not outwards. Okay. So when senses for a start are pulled outside the body, it's like the bark of the senses is pulled back, and then they're more receptive to the senses of what's going on, which means that you ping around and you feel things that are really highly sensitive, or you're oversensitive, yeah, to certain things. And that's why you're oversensitive, or you're overreactive, or over-responsive, or underreactive and under-responsive, because these senses are sitting here and you can't figure out, excuse me, what's going on.
It's like your sensors are out on stalks.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But,
yeah, okay.
They're all around here.
Yeah.
So next, on the end of our senses are our receptors. So I liken a receptor basically to like a grape, like an Elon grape. And it's the same thing. It's like the skin has been pulled back and they're facing all outwards, which means exactly the same reason. It means that you're more receptive to what everybody else is saying than what you're saying, because your receptors are out here. Receptors are all about you being receptive to you, okay?
Yeah.
Because they analyze things and they figure out what's going on. Because we have we have all these little like mind and memory that goes all the way through our body. You know, it's not just, we have all these little types of processes all the way through our entire body, because if we don't use these, everything doesn't get to the head, or, you know, our final processor. You know, also through our soul and our heart, we also process a lot of different information as well. Okay, our intuition and instinct also processes a lot of different types of information. All those different things, the way they process, you know, we need our senses, and we need our receptors for everything to work. And that's why sometimes, as soon as you do that sort of thing, we bring them all the ways back in. You're working completely and utterly different. So that since things that you used to overreact or underreact to, it just becomes, after a while, they become, it's like a normal reaction. It's normal, you know, you're not like a cat on a hot tin roof. Yeah. And that's why a lot of people can finally start to sleep, and you find a lot more joy in life, because it allows you to get the information that you haven't been able to get before. Yeah. So all this, it basically goes down to you being able to receive that information. Because if we aren't, everyone thinks that if you get too much information, you become overawed. It's completely the opposite. The more information you get, because it's a bit like, imagine you got all these people all the way around you, all talking about you, and you say, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? But if you got all that information all the ways back in you, all that information's not going out, you know, otherwise you've got FOMO in a way. So all that, the more information you have, the quieter you get, and you just get quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter. And it's really weird for a while, because when that quietness comes in, it's like you're used to reacting and responding, or overreacting, over responding to certain things all the time. And then all of a sudden, oh, this feels a bit weird. But then all of a sudden you get used to it after a day or so, and then you start to process all this information about yourself. So you're receptive to your own personal information instead of receptive to everything that's going on. I mean, that's basically why trash mags sell, you know. Everyone's receptive to, thinks everyone's having a great time, other than them. Well, they're not, you know.
So what I understand is that we're actually designed, our energy is designed to be receptive to ourselves, to receive all that information and process it and make order of it and make decisions out of it and all of that. And when it goes out, and it also gets forced, because a lot of those senses are switched off as well. They've been switched off. So you have to force it, because you don't have all the faculties you need. And you're pointing in the wrong direction. You're trying to source information from the wrong place. And then, of course, it doesn't work. And it's no wonder.
No, and often we're dragging in information that doesn't even relate to what we need to know.
Yeah,
about.
absolutely.
You know, it's sort of hit and miss, you know, and then we wonder why we get so pissed off, or why we get agitated, or, you know, we get completely shut down to certain subjects. It's like, ugh, don't want to know about that. Yeah. And then after a while, it's like, oh, bring it all back in. Yeah. So it all gets done.
That's brilliant. That's actually really enlightening for me. I learned a lot. So thank you very much.
I hope it helps everybody too.